I said Meghan Markle is, of course, a lifelong feminist, which she's demonstrated by marrying a prince and giving up her job.
Many people were left stunned after comedian Jimmy Carr reportedly took aim at Meghan Markle during a live comedy show, delivering a joke that quickly grabbed everyone's attention. According to the latest claims, the sharp roast didn't go unnoticed, with rumors suggesting Meghan was furious over the public joke. Within hours, social media exploded with heated debates. So, did Jimmy Carr's bold joke really leave Meghan Markle upset? And what does this latest controversy reveal about the growing tension between celebrities, comedians, and public criticism? But what do you think? Was Jimmy Carr simply doing his job as a comedian, or did he go too far? Share your thoughts in the comments, and stay tuned for more royal news, celebrity stories, and the latest updates. Jimmy Carr's SNL joke about Meghan Markle. On May 2, 2026, the atmosphere inside Studio 8H changed in a way that very few people expected. During Saturday Night Live's Weekend Update segment, Jimmy Carr calmly told a joke about King Charles visiting America while supposedly trying to secure the release of a British hostage. Just seconds later, a photo of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle appeared on the screen behind him. The audience burst into laughter almost immediately. Jimmy briefly struggled to keep a straight face before moving on to the next story. But the moment had already spread far beyond the studio and into a much larger media storm. Within hours, the clip was being shared across X, Page 6, Sky News Australia, GB News, and the Daily Mail. The reaction was immediate and unusually strong. Some people brushed it off as just another celebrity joke from a late-night comedy show. Others believed it meant something much bigger. For years, Meghan had received strong support from many people in the American entertainment industry, especially after she and Harry stepped back from their royal duties. This time, however, one of America's biggest comedy shows openly made her the target of a nationally televised joke, and the audience laughed without hesitation. What made the moment even more remarkable was how carefully Saturday Night Live works behind the scenes. The jokes on Weekend Update are not made up on the spot. Every line is checked several times by the show's writers and network lawyers before it is broadcast. Nothing involving well-known public figures, especially members of the royal family, is shown on air without careful review. Because of that, many people online began to speculate that NBC executives clearly understood the joke and still approved it for millions of viewers. Critics argued that the network would never have allowed the joke unless it believed the audience was ready to laugh along. The audience's laughter quickly became part of the debate. Social media users replayed the clip over and over, focusing not only on Jimmy's delivery, but also on the crowd's reaction. There were no shocked reactions, no awkward silence, and almost no sign that anyone in the room felt uncomfortable. Instead, the audience laughed, as if the joke matched an opinion that many people had already started to form. That reaction raised difficult questions about Meghan's image in Hollywood and the American media. Some commentators even suggested that the strong support once surrounding the Sussexes might be starting to fade. Beyond the headlines and viral videos, another possibility began to emerge. The joke may not have been surprising because it was harsh. It may have stood out because it reflected how much public opinion seemed to have changed. For Meghan Markle, the moment appeared to represent something bigger than a single comedy joke. To many people, it looked like the point where public mockery stopped being isolated and started becoming part of mainstream entertainment. Whether that view was fair or exaggerated remained a subject of debate. Supporters argued that the criticism had become unfair and overly harsh, while critics said the couple had spent years attracting attention through interviews, documentaries, and public disagreements. Either way, the Weekend Update segment no longer seemed like harmless comedy. To many viewers, it felt like a major turning point. So, what does this moment reveal about the people and pressures now surrounding Meghan Markle? Who decided the old limits no longer mattered? And why did audiences around the world react so differently this time? Let's take a closer look. A joke that ignited a firestorm. By sunrise, Jimmy Carr's joke was no longer just something people saw inside Studio 8H. The clip had spread across the internet, quickly appearing on X, Page 6, Sky News Australia, GB News, and the Daily Mail before the weekend was over. Millions of people were no longer arguing about whether the joke was too harsh. Instead, they kept watching the audience's reaction again and again. Inside the studio, no one looked surprised. No one complained. The audience laughed loudly as soon as Prince Harry and Meghan Markle appeared on the screen, and that reaction soon became a bigger story than the joke itself. For Meghan, the timing could not have been worse. She had spent years carefully rebuilding her public image through Netflix projects, her lifestyle brand, interviews, and carefully planned public appearances that showed a calmer and more polished life in Montecito. But in just a few seconds, Saturday Night Live turned that image into the target of a national joke. Royal commentators later described the sketch as one of the harshest jokes about the Sussexes ever shown on the program. Even experienced royal watchers were surprised because the criticism was no longer coming only from British tabloids. This time, it came from a major American comedy show on one of NBC's biggest television platforms. That difference was important. People had become used to British newspapers criticizing Meghan, but many American entertainment companies had treated her much more positively. When she and Harry first stepped away from royal life, many people in Hollywood saw Meghan as a modern outsider standing up to the royal system. That support helped protect the Sussexes through many controversies. However, after the Weekend Update segment aired, some observers began to wonder if that support was slowly fading away. The loud laughter inside Studio 8H sounded less like a risky comedy moment and more like a sign that public opinion had already changed. Reports soon claimed that things around Montecito had become unusually quiet as news of the sketch continued spreading around the world. Supporters said the joke went too far and turned personal criticism into entertainment. Critics replied that comedy only works when audiences already understand and share the frustration behind the joke. That disagreement quickly sparked even more debate across social media. Why did the audience react so quickly and naturally? Why did the video keep spreading instead of disappearing after just one round of news coverage? Let's explore further. Before the 2026 controversy, long before the 2026 hostage joke spread across television and the internet, another moment on Saturday Night Live had already suggested that public opinion about Prince Harry and Meghan Markle was changing much faster than many people realized. On May 10, 2025, Jimmy Carr appeared behind the Weekend Update desk to talk about a newly announced trade agreement between the United States and the United Kingdom. At first, the joke sounded like a normal piece of political comedy. Then came the punchline. Jimmy joked that Britain's only request in the trade deal was for America to keep Harry and Meghan. A few seconds later, a smiling photo of the couple appeared behind him. The picture had been taken shortly after they attended Beyoncé's Cowboy Carter concert. The audience burst into loud laughter. People laughed right away, and the reaction was much stronger than many expected. Even Jimmy seemed surprised for a brief moment before he quickly continued with the show. Soon, the clip spread quickly across social media and news websites around the world. But what made the moment stand out was not just the joke itself. It was also when it happened. During the same week, Prince Harry was speaking publicly about rebuilding his relationship with the royal family in a BBC interview. At the same time, Meghan was trying to refresh her public image with new Netflix projects and lifestyle business plans. Supporters of the Sussexes felt the joke was unfair and too personal. Critics, however, believed it reflected the growing frustration many people on both sides of the Atlantic already felt toward the couple. The message behind the joke was simple, but powerful. It suggested that Harry and Meghan had become people that neither Britain nor America really wanted to claim anymore. For a couple who were once celebrated as symbols of modern royalty and worldwide fame, that message carried a lot of meaning. The audience's reaction inside Studio 8H made that message even stronger, because the laughter sounded less like surprise and more like agreement. In the days that followed, the reaction became impossible to ignore. News outlets played the clip over and over again, while commentators argued about whether Saturday Night Live was simply reflecting public opinion or helping to shape it. Some people said comedy often shows changes in society before political commentators notice them. Others believed Harry and Meghan had become easy targets because years of interviews, documentaries, memoirs, and public disagreements had left many viewers tired of hearing about them, even those who had once supported them. Whatever the reason, the atmosphere around Harry and Meghan no longer looked like the strong support they had once received from many major American media organizations. The trade deal joke also helped create a pattern that made the 2026 hostage joke have an even bigger impact. By the time Jimmy Carr returned 1 year later with another joke about the royal couple, many viewers were already expecting to laugh. Public feelings had already changed. Saturday Night Live did not suddenly turn Meghan Markle into a regular target for jokes overnight. That image had been built slowly through repeated comedy sketches, recurring jokes, and changing audience reactions over several years. Looking back, the 2025 trade deal joke no longer seemed like a single one-time joke. Instead, it looked like an early sign that the Sussex brand was beginning to lose the emotional connection it once had with the same public that had defended the couple so strongly. Behind the laughter in 2025, something much more damaging was quietly taking place. But was it really a hidden sign of what the public already believed? Had the audience already seen through the Sussex's public image before the joke was even told? And how did that one appearance quietly change everything that happened afterward? Let's take a closer look. Meghan and Harry's reception. When Meghan Markle married Prince Harry in May 2018, much of the American media described the wedding as a real-life fairy tale watched around the world. Television networks celebrated the marriage as a fresh and modern chapter for the royal family. Many Hollywood stars also praised Meghan, calling her a relatable outsider who was joining one of the world's oldest and most traditional institutions. At that time, the couple faced very little criticism in the United States. Even Saturday Night Live seemed more interested in making fun of the royal family and the monarchy than mocking Meghan herself. But looking back now, it is easier to see that the first signs of a change were already beginning to appear. On the night of the royal wedding, Weekend Update host Michael Che made a joke that quickly got a huge laugh from the audience. He said that Meghan Markle had married some unemployed dude who still lives with his grandma. The joke was mainly aimed at Prince Harry, portraying him as a privileged royal who depended on palace life instead of living like an ordinary working adult. At the time, the joke seemed lighthearted, especially compared with the much stronger criticism that would come in later years. Meghan was still widely seen as the glamorous newcomer who was bringing fresh ideas and change to the monarchy rather than someone people wanted to mock. That same pattern continued in 2019 when Saturday Night Live aired a sketch called Royal Baby Video shortly before Archie was born. The comedy sketch featured exaggerated versions of members of the royal family speaking directly to Harry and Meghan's unborn child. Mikey Day played Prince Harry, while Kate McKinnon portrayed Queen Elizabeth with her usual stiff posture and dry sense of humor. During one scene, the fictional queen warmly welcomed the baby before joking that the child was half American, which means half traitor. The audience burst into laughter, and the joke stayed in the final broadcast without any edits or apology. Another moment in the sketch quietly hinted at the future drama involving Meghan and Princess Kate. A parody version of Kate Middleton awkwardly joked about rumors that she and Meghan were arguing, while insisting that everything was perfectly fine. Years later, many viewers looked back at that scene because it aired long before the Oprah interview, Prince Harry's memoir Spare, and the endless stories about divisions within the royal family. What first seemed like simple comedy later appeared surprisingly accurate to many royal watchers as events unfolded. Perhaps the most interesting part of this story is how much public opinion changed over time. In 2018, much of American entertainment embraced Meghan Markle. She represented modern thinking, celebrity culture, and independence as she entered a centuries-old royal institution. Saturday Night Live reflected that mood by directing most of its jokes at royal traditions, strict aristocrats, and palace customs. Meghan was usually shown as the confident outsider shaking up an old-fashioned system. But as the years passed, the tone slowly changed. Instead of the monarchy being the main target, Meghan herself increasingly became the focus of the jokes. The change surprised many longtime observers because it happened so gradually that most people barely noticed it at first. One sketch was followed by another, and then another, with each one becoming just a little more critical than the last. By the time much harsher jokes appeared years later, audiences had already become used to seeing Harry and Meghan in a very different way. What had started as playful satire about the royal family had quietly turned into something much more personal. It also revealed how public attitudes and popular culture had changed. Little by little, something subtle was happening in the way the jokes were written, and that shift would become impossible to ignore. Was it simply comedy changing with the times, or was it part of a deliberate shift in the story being told? Who decided when Meghan was no longer treated gently and instead became the focus of sharper jokes and criticism? And was this the start of something much bigger? Let's take a closer look. When the laughter began. The change in public opinion did not happen because of one scandal or one interview. Instead, it happened little by little after Prince Harry and Meghan Markle sat down with Oprah Winfrey in 2021 and spoke openly about the difficulties they faced inside the royal family. The interview quickly became one of the biggest news stories in the world. It sparked heated debates about race, life inside the palace, the way the media treated the couple, and why Harry and Meghan decided to step away from their royal duties. For a while, support for Meghan in the United States seemed stronger than ever. Many people believed she was bravely revealing the painful reality of life behind palace walls. However, although the interview led to serious discussions, it also gave comedians a chance to turn those emotional claims into material for late-night comedy shows. Only a few weeks later, Saturday Night Live joined the conversation. Actor Daniel Kaluuya hosted the show and spoke about the royal controversy during his opening monologue. While talking about being black and British, he delivered a joke that quickly went viral on social media. "I'm what the royal family was worried the baby would look like." The audience immediately burst into loud laughter and applause. The joke referred to one of the most shocking moments from the Oprah interview, when Harry and Meghan said that concerns had been raised about how dark Archie's skin might be before he was born. With that single joke, SNL had turned one of the most sensitive royal controversies in recent history into a comedy segment watched by millions of people. That moment marked an important change. Before then, jokes about Harry and Meghan had mostly focused on celebrity life, royal traditions, or awkward public moments. Now, the show was using the couple's most personal complaints as the basis for comedy. Some viewers praised the jokes as bold and clever, while others felt they made light of very serious accusations. No matter what people thought, one thing became clear. Every new interview, documentary, or public statement from Harry and Meghan seemed to give comedians fresh material. The pattern became even more obvious after Prince Harry released his memoir, Spare, in early 2023. The book reopened old tensions within the royal family and dominated news coverage around the world. Not long afterward, Saturday Night Live aired a parody rap sketch making fun of the drama surrounding the book and the Sussexes' continuing public disputes. One joke compared Harry and Meghan's relationship drama to a royal rebellion. The line, especially the phrase "Not today, Satan," drew huge laughs from the audience. It quickly spread across X, reaction videos, and tabloid headlines, becoming one of the most talked-about jokes in online royal discussions. The sketch strengthened the growing feeling that Harry and Meghan were no longer being seen mainly as tragic public figures. Instead, they were becoming regular targets for comedy. Later that same year, another controversy gave SNL even more material. After worldwide attention focused on claims that a Christmas photo of the Wales family had been digitally edited, comedian Jimmy Carr joked that Meghan Markle had a finger they could use if they needed it. The joke referred both to the photo editing controversy and to earlier criticism surrounding Meghan's own promotional photographs. Once again, the audience broke into laughter, and clips of the joke spread across the internet within hours. By this point, something much bigger seemed to be happening. The sympathy many people once felt for Harry and Meghan was slowly being replaced by tiredness, doubt, and ridicule. Every time the couple tried to explain their side of the story, it seemed to give comedians even more material to work with. Saturday Night Live no longer treated the Sussex story as a sensitive cultural issue. Instead, it increasingly presented Harry and Meghan as recurring characters in an ongoing public drama that continued to grow with every interview, appearance, and new controversy. And beneath all the laughter, an even bigger shift in public opinion was quietly taking place. Was public support quietly fading away? Or was something much bigger and more carefully planned taking shape right before everyone's eyes? Who was really gaining from the growing ridicule? And how long would it be before the public mood shifted once again? Let's explore further. Meghan Markle media shift. For several years, Meghan Markle held a special place in the American media. After marrying Prince Harry and stepping away from royal duties, she was often presented as a modern woman standing up to one of the world's oldest institutions. Many Hollywood stars openly supported her. Streaming companies invested millions in the Sussex brand, and major television networks were often careful when criticizing the couple. But by 2026, the atmosphere had clearly changed. The same entertainment industry that once seemed eager to defend Meghan now appeared far more willing to make jokes about her in front of millions of people. Nowhere was this change easier to see than on Saturday Night Live. This shift did not happen all at once. It developed slowly through years of controversies, high-profile interviews, documentaries, Prince Harry's memoir, and countless media appearances that kept the Sussexes in the headlines. Each new project was expected to improve their public image. Instead, many people began feeling tired of the constant stream of explanations, disagreements, and emotional stories. As discussions continued about Netflix shows, canceled podcasts, branding efforts, and celebrity partnerships, more people started experiencing what many described as Sussex fatigue. Critics argued that Harry and Meghan spoke constantly about wanting privacy while continuing to stay in the public eye. Their supporters believed they were being unfairly criticized no matter what they did. Whatever the truth, the public conversation surrounding Meghan became harder and harder to manage. Saturday Night Live seemed to notice this change before many others. In earlier years, the show's jokes about Harry and Meghan were only occasional and fairly gentle. But over time, the comedy became much sharper, more direct, and much more personal. The writers no longer appeared worried about upsetting viewers. Instead, every new joke seemed to receive even bigger laughs than the one before. That was important because comedy depends on audience reactions. If a joke fails, comedians usually stop using it. But if audiences laugh harder every time a topic comes up, writers continue pushing it further. The repeated jokes about the Sussexes suggested that something much bigger was happening than ordinary celebrity teasing. They pointed to a wider change in public opinion. The laughter inside Studio 8H became a message of its own. Viewers no longer reacted with discomfort or hesitation. They laughed immediately, almost as if the jokes reflected opinions and frustrations that had already been growing among the public. Some media commentators even argued that Saturday Night Live was no longer shaping how people viewed Meghan Markle. Instead, it was simply reflecting opinions that already existed. That difference was important, because mainstream comedy usually follows public opinion, instead of creating it from nothing. What made this especially unusual was that many powerful celebrities are often protected from constant ridicule by the same entertainment industry that benefits from their popularity. But Meghan increasingly seemed to lose that protection. The writers at NBC kept returning to her story, and major news outlets widely shared the comedy clips instead of avoiding them. With every viral moment, more people began seeing Harry and Meghan not mainly as inspiring public figures, but as familiar characters in an ongoing public drama. Whether people believed the change was fair or unfair, it was clear that the shift in attitudes toward Meghan Markle had become much bigger than any single television joke or one public controversy. Was Hollywood's silence simply a coincidence? Or was it carefully planned? Who decided that Meghan had become the easiest person to joke about? What hidden change inside the entertainment industry finally removed the protection she once seemed to have? And where could that change lead next? Let's take a closer look. Royal comedy evolution. By the time SNL UK officially launched on Sky and Peacock, the way comedians joked about the British royal family had changed much more than anyone could have imagined just a few years earlier. What had started as the occasional joke about palace life on American television had grown into a shared trend on both sides of the Atlantic. American and British comedy shows were now using the same royal headlines as material, often making jokes about the same people at the same time. As a result, Meghan Markle and Prince Harry became the center of a constant stream of comedy that reached audiences in both the United States and the United Kingdom. Their lives were no longer just discussed in one country. Instead, they became regular subjects of jokes watched by millions across both nations. In the United States, Saturday Night Live continued using Meghan and Harry in Weekend Update, comedy sketches, and fake news segments. At the same time, SNL UK created its own style of royal comedy. British comedians regularly joked about Prince Andrew and other members of the royal family, often in ways that were similar to American comedy, but sometimes even sharper. Prince Andrew became one of the show's biggest targets. Many sketches portrayed him in a much darker way, showing a clear difference from the lighter and more playful royal jokes that had once been common. As both shows continued to grow, Meghan and Harry appeared more and more often in sketches, jokes, and comedy commentary, even when the main topic had little to do with them. The constant repetition began to influence how many people saw them. Instead of appearing only once in a while as subjects of satire, they became familiar and recurring characters in royal comedy across two of the world's biggest entertainment markets. Over time, this changed their public image. Rather than being seen mainly as former senior royals or international campaigners, the Sussexes increasingly became well-known comedy references shared by American and British audiences. So, what do you think about Jimmy Carr mocking Meghan Markle on a live show? Share your thoughts with us in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe.